G'day YouTube. I'm guessing seeing as you're here that you're a fan of custom motorcycles, and if you are, undoubtedly, you would have seen a lot of these jobs getting around. It's a pretty common modification to take a dirt bike or a dual sport that's dripping in plastic, swap the tank out, build yourself a nice seat, and call it a custom motorcycle. This motorcycle that came into us was a TTR250 from 1999. It had a lot of the modifications done already, but the difference between what we got presented with and what you see right now is the quality. That's what we do here. We like to finish things really nicely and take them a cut above the rest. So let me take you through just what we've done to this TTR250 Scrambler. As I mentioned before, when the bike came to us, a lot of the major stuff was done. So there was no longer a plastic tank on it. The seat had been rebuilt into a flat seat, although they'd fitted up like a really ill-fitting eBay special, those ones that you can get for about 40 bucks. It just looked like shit. The subframe was sort of hacked up and fabricated poorly. So we sort of took the style that it was, and we knew that the rider liked that, but we sort of built on that and just made sure that the finish quality is way higher now. So starting with the tank, this is a pretty cheap and easy tank that you can buy off of eBay or AliExpress or whatever. There's thousands of them around. What had been done was it just slapped on there. It was fitting poorly, so it was up on this weird angle. It was hard mounted, so it sort of like rattled around as you ride. What we did was fabricate some proper rubber mounts on the front here and a nice solid mount on the tail. We've rebuilt the subframe and bracketry here and then left in place the standard airbox and battery box, which is on this side. What we have done to this though is made some nice aluminium cover plates to hide all of the sort of plastic mess. There's a few bits that we couldn't sort of go over without protruding too far, which you can see here, and there's also some on the other side. But that was sort of left open on this side especially, so you could get access to the air filter without any tools. You can just take it off by hand, clean your filter out, slap it back together. One thing we do know is this guy likes to hoon around on the beach down near Brunswick, so we had to sort of make it as durable as a tin tank Scrambler can be. So moving on to the tail of the bike, we've hooped the rear here, fabricated a tail tidy bracket using our tail tidy kit and plate light. We've got our 3-in-1 LED indicators here acting as your brake and turn signals, switched up on the bars as per usual, so this keeps your tail super clean. You have no extras, unnecessary additional lighting or anything like that, and that just sort of keeps everything nice and tight and tidy. The exhaust, the header remained unchanged. We sort of fabricated a link pipe a little bit and had the whole system Cerakoted once we'd fitted up our 2-inch torpedo muffler. This delivers a pretty cracking sound off this little motor. As you can imagine, it sort of sounds like an angry bee, but pretty epic nonetheless. We've put our little silencer cone in there so it's not too obnoxious, but when you're blasting through the bush, it's sort of nice to have a bit of a dirt bike sound out your ear. We've sort of kept a lot of this just really clean. The wheels on this bike were previously built and they were done pretty well. So stainless steel spokes, they had black Excel rims fitted up to them. So it was just a matter of fitting nice new tires, getting them a bit chunkier. So we've gone with the Continental TKC 80, which are a pretty good like all-rounder tire that we use on a few Scramblers here and there, especially our wide wheel Scramblers, because they really, once you start to get into the bigger sizes, the huge knobbies on them look really good, and the profile handles pretty well on the street, surprisingly too. So as some of you have probably already seen through our social media and email newsletter, we have opened a performance section of purpose-built Moto now. So we have a full-time mechanic in here who's doing engine rebuilds, carburetors, tuning, suspension, all sorts of stuff that we didn't really have the capacity to do anymore. We've now bought in-house because we are getting super busy. So the suspension on this thing, when we got it, was absolutely shot. So we've stripped and rebuilt the front, strengthened the springs up a little bit. The rear shock was beyond our scope. It was absolutely toast. So we sent that off to Charlie Costanzo from Costanzo Racing. He's rebuilt the shock, re-sprung everything, stiffened it up a little bit, better handling on the road, and we've got that back together. So the bike is sitting as it should and handles. When we first got this bike, we took it for a ride down the road and the rear was just bunny hopping at anything over 60 k's an hour. So it was way too doughy and sort of dangerous. So we've made sure that we fixed all of that up. The engine, we stripped it down and took a bit of a look over it once it was pulled out of the bike, ran a compression test on it, and it was actually quite low compression. So although it was sort of starting and running seemingly okay, I doubt it would have lasted all that much longer. So the decision was made to give it a fresh top end. So we've had it bored out, the next oversized piston installed, new rings, we've got the barrel re-sleeved, done a bit of head work to it, ported the intakes, and we've also stripped and rebuilt the standard carburetor. So this thing runs really well now. Once we've sort of like run it in, it actually really goes nicely, and Jesse's got it tuned to perfection too. Starts nice and easy, which is what you want, especially on a kickstart bike. Subframe was kept nice and short, so that called for a nice neat brat seat. We've kept a fair bit of foam on this one, just to make sure that our rider Josh is nice and comfortable on his weekend rips. Sent it off to Yamaha Timeless for a gripper top and some Alcantara sides. Pretty simple and effective job on that one. So apart from the tail that we've done on this bike, most of the fabrication took place on the front end here. So like I mentioned before, we had to fabricate and remount the tank and all that sort of stuff. We've made some nice brackets here to house a single gauge. We've used a Daytona Valona 60 on this one. These are a product that we've been using more and more nowadays. They're actually available through the online store because we've been using them for a while, haven't had any issues. So more than happy to sort of like start representing and selling these parts. We've got a new set of Pro Taper contour bars that house our Scrambler mirrors and 3-button switches on each side for your control, black box under the seat as per usual, and then a nice sort of motocross style aluminium front fender here. We extended this one out a little bit longer, given that sort of sharp look, sort of matches in with the tank. For the color scheme on this, there was a lot of black on the bike already, so we wanted to utilize that and sort of lever off it. We went with a nice bright silver, and Justin from Pop Bang Classics has done a black and white Yamaha speed block that sort of runs onto the tip of the fender and back onto the tank. The last thing we had to do on this one, which actually happened after we went out for a little test ride around the car park here, was the front brake system. So we noticed that the front brake was dragging a little bit after we put some new pads in. So we cleaned up the caliper, stripped that out, rebuilt that. Everything seemed okay down on this end. So we started looking at the master cylinder. The master cylinder ended up being toast. It wasn't letting the brake fluid return properly. So rather than sort of stripping it out, trying to rebuild it and, you know, mucking around with it, we went down to our mate Paolo at Moto. He's a secondhand parts dealer who's like literally just around the corner. We scored ourselves a 2018 Kawasaki Ninja 400 master cylinder, which works spot on for this system. So we just were able to give that a bit of a cleanup. It was in really good condition, retrofit that onto the handlebars, fit our mirror up to it, and that was job done. It was way quicker than trying to strip and rebuild everything. So that was sort of it. We've taken it out on a few test rides, really impressed with how this little thing runs now. All right, that'll about do it for our TTR250 Scrambler. I'm gonna give this thing a kick in the gut so you can hear it running, and then we'll head out on a test ride with our GoPro. If you watch closely, we're gonna head out with a DR650. So if you love your Scramblers, get over and hit that page. We went out test riding with our mate Tobin. It was his bike, so we headed out with a couple of cameras strapped on and raced through the hills. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Gotta love that, second kick. Let's go. Woohoo! Generally, this is the part where your favorite YouTuber is going to ask you to subscribe to their Patreon. Luckily for you, we're not YouTubers. We're bike builders and parts makers. So if you like the content we create and the bikes we build, or you hate both of those things and just want to grab some gear for your next project, make sure you show your support, jump on our online store and give your bike that purpose-built Moto touch. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. A nice Yamaha speed block design on the paintwork as well.